Hello,
Welcome
welcome
back.
back.
Today
Today
we're
we're
going
going
to
to
talk
talk about
about
modern
modern
relationships
relationships
and
and
independence.
independence.
This is
This is
RTS
RTS
speaking,
speaking,
part
part
three.
three.
I'm going
I'm
to
going
read
to
the
read the
questions
questions
and
and
try
try
to give
to
the
give the
sample
sample
answers
answers
to the
to the
best of
best
my
of my
ability.
ability.
So the
So
first
the first
question is,
question is,
why are
why are
people
people
getting
getting
married
married
later
later
nowadays?
nowadays?
I think
I think
because we are
because we are
systematically
systematically
trying
trying
to
to
go
go
to
to
school until
school
the
until the
universities,
universities,
finishing
finishing
schools,
schools,
build our
building our
careers,
careers,
and
and
then
then
it's when
it's
we
when we
feel
feel
like we are
like we
ready
are
to
ready
take
to take
somebody
somebody
into our
into our
life.
life.
Even
Even
though
though
I
I
don't
don't
necessarily
necessarily
say
say
this is
this
the
is the
right
right
path,
path,
because
because
building
building
something could
something
be
could be
done
done
with
with
a
a
partner,
partner,
but
but
a lot of
a
people
lot
are
of people are
afraid
afraid
of
of
probably
probably
once they
once
get
they get
married and
married and
settled, they
settled,
will
they
start
will start
having
having
kids and
kids
are
and
not
are not
sure
sure
about
about
their
their
career
career
path. They want
path.
to
They want to
focus
focus
more
more
on
on
self-improvement in their
self-improvement in their
careers and
careers and
spending most
spending
of the
most of the
time
time
trying to
trying
do
to
their
do their
jobs.
jobs.
I know
I
this
know this
is a
is a
reason for
reason for
some of
some of
them,
them,
but for
but
most
for most
people,
people,
it's just
it's
an
just an
excuse
excuse
to run
to
away
run
from
away from
responsibilities.
responsibilities.
And
And
another
another
people would
people
say
would say
because of the
because of the
modern
modern
lifestyle,
lifestyle,
people
people
are
are
more
more
open to
open to
having
having
relationships
relationships
outside
outside
marriage, so
marriage,
they
so
think
they
they
think
still
they
have
still have
options.
options.
And when
And
they get
when they
married,
get
they might
married, they might
sacrifice some
sacrifice some
options, which
options,
I
which
also
I
think
also
it's
think it's
a
a
huge waste
huge
of
waste
time,
of time,
especially
especially
when you
when
are at
you
the
are at
age
the
where you're
age where you're
supposed
supposed
to
to
be
be
learning how
learning
to
how
be a
to be a
mother
mother
and how
and
to be
how
a
to be a
father and
father and
probably
probably
taking care
taking
of
care of
your
your
family.
family.
Starting a
Starting a
family
family
early
early
for
for
responsible young
responsible young
people, I think,
people, I
is
think, is
always
always
a
a
positive
positive
thing.
thing.
Question number
Question number
two, is
two is
independence more
independence more
important than
important than
relationships
relationships
today?
today?
I think
I think
independence
independence
isn't more
isn't more
important than
important than
relationships. I
relationships.
think
I
you
think
could
you
get
could
your
get your
independence through
independence through a
relationship. You
relationship.
just
You
have
just
to have
have to have
principles, you
principles,
have
you
to
have
have
to have
morals, and you
morals,
have
and
to
you
have
have to have
standards.
standards.
Independence
Independence
is
is
usually
usually
overrated
overrated
because
because
once you are
once you are
independent
independent
and you
and
can
you
do
can do
everything the
everything
way
the
you
way you
want it,
want it,
it doesn't
it doesn't
always lead
always
us
lead
to
us
good
to good
things,
things
because
because
sometimes you're
sometimes you're
stressed,
stressed,
you make
you
bad
make bad
decisions, but
decisions.
if
But
you
if
have
you
some
have
rules
some
that are
rules that are
set
set
that
that
stops you
stops
from
you
doing
from
that,
doing that,
probably you have
probably
a
you have a
partner that
partner that
stops you
stops
from
you
going
from
out
going
at
out at
night
night
and
and
drinking.
drinking.
Though I'm
Though
not
I'm not
saying
saying
every
every
married
married
person
person
or
or
everyone with
everyone
a
with a
serious
serious
relationship
relationship
doesn't do
doesn't
that.
do that.
But
But
it
it
decreases the
decreases the
chances of
chances of
you
you
doing
doing
wrong
wrong
things
things
and
and
lose
lose
focus and
focus
not
and not
having
having
goals.
goals.
For
For
example, for a
example, for a
married
married
person, when
person,
they
when
have
they
a
have a
job
job
and they get
and
the
they get the
money,
money,
they
they
tend to have
tend
a
to have a
budget
budget
and
and
goals to
goals to
probably
probably
building a
building a
house or
house
buying
or
a
buying a
house,
house,
buying a
buying a
car,
car,
and
and
eventually
eventually
add
add
into the
into the
economy. But
economy.
for the
But for the
people who
people
are
who are
single, it's
single,
much
it's much
more
more
like I
like I
still
still
have
have
time, I can
time, I
take
can take
risk with
risk with
myself. It's
myself.
okay
It's
if I
okay
don't
if I
eat
don't eat
today, or
today,
it's
or
okay
it's
if I
okay
don't
if I
have a
don't have a
car.
car.
So
So
it
it
works that
works
way
that way
in this
in this
case.
case.
Question number
Question number
three,
three,
how have
how have
relationships
relationships
changed in
changed in
modern
modern
society?
society?
Well,
Well,
unfortunately,
unfortunately,
compared
compared
to
to
a
a
little
little
bit,
bit,
can I
how
say, a
can I
few
say, a few
decades
decades
ago,
ago,
relationships
relationships
nowadays are not
nowadays are not
taken
taken
seriously. A
seriously.
lot
A
of
lot of
people
people
just
just
like
like
to
to
have a
have a
temporary
temporary
relationship and
relationship
move
and
into
move
another
into another
partner,
partner,
which
which
decreases the
decreases the
level
level
or the
or the
quality of
quality of
relationships.
relationships,
And not
and not
only
only
romantic
romantic
relationships,
relationships,
but
but
also
also
family
family
relationships have
relationships have
changed. A lot
changed.
of
A lot of
people
people
watch a lot
watch a
of
lot of
Hollywood
Hollywood
movies,
movies,
and they
and
are
they are
learning a
learning a
culture
culture
which
which
doesn't
doesn't
teach
teach
them
them
or
or
doesn't
doesn't
allow them
allow
to
them to
stay
stay
with
with
their
their
probably
probably
parents
parents
for a
for
very
a
long
very long
time,
time,
having
having
close
close
family
family
ties.
ties.
Everyone is
Everyone is
independent to make
independent to
their own
make their own
decisions.
decisions.
In one
In
way,
one
this
way,
is
this is
good
good
if
if
people
people
try
try
to be
to be
individuals
individuals
and doing
and doing
something for
something for
themselves.
themselves,
But you can
but you can
still be
still be
individual
individual
and do
and do
something for
something for
yourself
yourself
while you're
while you're
keeping your
keeping your
family
family
ties
ties
tight.
tight.
The only
The only
problem with the
problem with the
family
family
ties
ties
is when
is when
families
families
feel they
feel they
are
are
entitled to
entitled to
control other
control other
family
family
members
members
just
just
because they
because they
have a
have a
blood
blood
relationship.
relationship.
So I
So I
think
think
when
when
these
these
relationships are
relationships are
built build on respect and care and real love. Family relationships are the best ties ever, and people tend to be more successful when they are individually powerful but also have strong family ties. So I still think the changes that are happening in modern society, they are both good and bad, but when you're focusing on the good side and forgetting the bad side, ignoring the negative parts of it, and then embracing the family ties or relationships that are meaningful, then we are going to have a much more healthier lifestyle as beings. Next question is, do you think people are less committed than before? Yes, this is what I just talked about. I think people are less committed to nowadays because they have more options. It's much more easier to to reach other people, change relationships, your girlfriend or boyfriends, or having relationships without marriage. And obviously, this kind of relationships, this kind of commitment also doesn't also happens within unmarried people as well. Even the married people are not very committed to their marriages compared to before, because there are these ideologies that I personally don't agree with. The fact is that when I get bored, it's not how they put it, but this is the reality. When people get bored, they want to move out of their marriages, they want to get a divorce, they think it's as easy, or it should be as easy as it is, whereby in the past, these kind of relationships were respected. People didn't just try to get divorced because they feel bored or their partner did something wrong. So people have to have really strong reasons, because getting a divorce and going out there having a life alone isn't as easy, no matter how well it has been advertised that you can go and you can do it by yourself. It's very, very difficult, especially when you already have kids. Talking about problems, trying to solve them, and obviously what is more important is trying to be a responsible partner is the best way to actually maintain and keep on being committed in the relationship that you are focusing on. Now, we're going to finish here, and I have one or two words that I want to tell you when you're practicing these questions. Listening is a good way to start with. If you think the speed of the video is too fast, you can always slow it down. Listen, take it back and repeat and practice. When you are listening to this one, this part, you are actually studying. So try not to just listen and move on. Try to get all the information you could get, try to analyze them, try to practice by yourself, try to sit down and try to create your own answers. So many students love to listen to the answers and thinking that listen to answers alone will give you a lot of ideas on how to answer these questions. Actually, just listening to the answers and trying to get the ideas of how to answer these questions is one thing, but actually trying to practice or doing this by yourself is another thing. So you might be watching a lot of football, it doesn't mean that you can go out there and play. So the most important thing after listening and analyzing and learning from these videos is actually trying to answer these questions by yourself. It doesn't matter when you're practicing, you can use the same ideas, but don't copy the sentences, don't copy the whole thing. Some people try to memorize answers. This is the worst way of learning or practicing for this examination. Don't memorize any kind of answers. Study them, understand them, learn vocabularies, learn the patterns, learn the ideas, but try to make them yours. Well, for some people, they love memorizing. So memorizing isn't a bad thing. You can memorize the phrases and the way of speaking, and even imitating somebody's voice if you think they speak it so well. But when it comes to examinations, you have to add that part of yourself. So in the beginning, memorize, try to do everything like by trying to recall what you have learned and stuff, but always try to have your own sentences. Don't go word by word, sentence by sentence, point after point, exactly the same way you memorized before, because there are so many topics and you never know which kind of topics they're going to ask you. So if you memorize so many topics, going there, it's much more harder, much more easier if you actually understand, practice, and correct yourself. Record yourself, listen to yourself, come here, watch these videos. Don't forget to subscribe, open those notifications, and commenting and sharing them with your friends. Take care of yourself, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next session. Best of luck.